Let me ask you something personal right now. Think about the last time you stood up from your favorite chair. Did you push off with your hands? Did your knees protest a little? Did you feel that familiar heaviness in your legs that was not there 5 years ago? If you nodded at any of those questions, I need you to stay with me right now because what I am about to share with you is something that most doctors simply do not have time to explain during a 12-minute appointment. And the shocking truth is that the muscle loss you are experiencing right now, the weakness, the fatigue, the feeling that your body is just not responding the way it used to, none of that is inevitable. None of it is simply age. And there is a real, scientifically proven, 3-minute fix that can begin reversing it today. Before we go any further, I want you to do something for me right now. Drop your age in the comments below. Just your age. Nothing else. I want to know exactly who is watching this video today, and I personally read every single comment on this channel. Go ahead and do that right now while I get started. I will be checking those comments throughout the day. I am Dr. Marcus Bell and this is Senior Strength Guide. Let us get into it. I want you to listen to the uncomfortable truth about what your doctor does not say. Here is something that happened in my clinic more times than I can count. A patient comes in, a man or woman who is 63, 68, maybe 72 years old. They are sharp, they are active, they care about their health. They sit down and they say to me, Dr. Bell, I have been feeling weak lately. My legs just do not have the strength they used to. I get tired faster. I used to walk 2 miles without thinking twice and now half a mile wears me out. And I would watch the same thing happen over and over. The doctor, and I include myself in this before I changed my approach, would nod sympathetically and say something like, well, that is just part of getting older. We all slow down a bit. Maybe try to stay more active. And the patient would leave the office with no real answers, no plan, and a quiet acceptance settling in their chest that this is just what life looks like from here on out. Now here is what I want to ask you. Has a doctor ever said something like that to you? Has someone in a position of authority ever told you that what you were experiencing was just aging and there was not much to be done? If that has happened to you, type yes in the comments right now. Because I want you to know that you are not alone, and more importantly I want you to know that what you were told was incomplete. It was not the whole story. And today you are going to hear the rest of it. That is one of the biggest failures of modern medicine when it comes to senior health. Not because doctors are bad people. They are not. But because the medical system is not built for the kind of deep, preventive, mechanistic conversation that would actually change your life. A 12-minute appointment is barely enough time to review your blood pressure medication, let alone explain the complex biological process that is quietly stealing your strength, your independence, and your future mobility. So today I am going to give you the conversation your doctor never had time to have with you. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly what is happening inside your body, why it is happening, what the research actually says, and the precise 3-minute morning practice that can genuinely begin to reverse it. What you are about to hear in this video is something that most seniors never get to know. Not because the information does not exist, but because the medical system simply does not have time to share it with you. Today we are going to change that. This video is divided into 2 episodes, and in episode 1 right here I am going to walk you through the complete science of what is happening inside your body right now, why your muscle loss is accelerating faster than you realize, and the exact 3-minute morning protocol that can begin reversing it starting tomorrow morning. And I promise you, by the time you finish episode 1, you are going to understand your own body better than you ever have before. But here is the thing. Episode 1 is only half of the story. Episode 2 is where I reveal the nutrition strategy, the critical vitamin and mineral deficiencies that most seniors over 60 are silently suffering from, the sleep protocol that makes everything else work twice as well, and the complete 90-day plan for rebuilding your strength and independence from the ground up. Episode 2 is coming very soon, and I do not want you to miss a single second of it. So before we go any further, do one thing for me right now. Hit that subscribe button below this video and press the bell icon right next to it. That bell is the only way YouTube will notify you the moment episode 2 goes live. A lot of people watch videos like this, feel inspired, and then never find their way back. The bell makes sure that does not happen to you. Hit subscribe, hit the bell, and let us get into episode 1 together. Part 1. What sarcopenia actually is and why it matters more than almost anything else after 60. The medical term for age-related muscle loss is sarcopenia. It comes from the Greek words sarx meaning flesh and penia meaning poverty. Poverty of flesh. That is a striking way to describe it, and it is exactly what it is. Sarcopenia is not just feeling a bit weaker. It is a recognized medical condition with a specific biological mechanism, measurable consequences, and real treatment options. The problem is that most seniors have never heard the word. Their doctors mention it briefly if at all and move on to something that can be treated with a prescription. According to research published in the Journal of Gerontology, adults over the age of 60 lose between 3 and 5% of their muscle mass every single year if they do nothing to counteract it. Let that number settle for a moment. 3 to 5% every year. If you are 65 right now and you started losing muscle mass at 60, you may have already lost somewhere between 15 and 25% of your peak muscle mass. And most of that loss happened so gradually that you barely noticed until one day getting out of a chair required a second attempt. I want you to pause here and really sit with what that number means. 15 to 25% of your peak muscle mass gone in just 5 years. And yet nobody told you it was happening. Nobody gave you a plan. Nobody walked you through what you could do to stop it. Here is what I want you to do right now. Think about one specific thing that feels harder for you physically than it did 5 years ago. Just one thing. Maybe it is climbing stairs. Maybe it is carrying groceries in from the car. Maybe it is getting up from a low seat. Whatever it is for you, I want you to type it in the comments. Write it out. Because naming it is the first step to fixing it, and I genuinely want to know what your body has been telling you. A landmark study from the New England Journal of Medicine published data showing that sarcopenia affects approximately 30% of people over 60 and as many as 50% of people over 80. But here is the number that genuinely changes the way I think about this condition. Seniors with significant muscle loss are 3 times more likely to fall, 4 times more likely to be hospitalized, and according to research from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, they have dramatically higher rates of mortality from all causes compared to seniors who maintain their muscle mass. This is not a minor cosmetic issue. Muscle mass is arguably the single most important biomarker of healthy aging. More important in many ways than blood pressure. More predictive than cholesterol. Muscle is your metabolic engine, your fall prevention system, your insulin regulator, your immune system supporter, and your primary defense against frailty. When you lose it, everything else starts to decline faster. And yet the average doctor's appointment spends 0 minutes discussing how to preserve and rebuild it. Part 2. The biology of muscle loss after 60, why it happens and why it accelerates. To understand why the 3-minute fix works, you need to understand what is actually causing the muscle loss in the first place. And it is not simply the passage of time. It is a collection of specific biological changes that either accelerate or can be deliberately interrupted. The first mechanism is hormonal change. After the age of 60, the body produces significantly less testosterone, growth hormone, and insulin-like growth factor 1, which is commonly called IGF-1. These 3 hormones are the primary drivers of what scientists call muscle protein synthesis. That is the process by which your muscles repair themselves, grow stronger, and maintain their size after being used. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism found that growth hormone secretion declines by approximately 14% every decade after the age of 30. By the time someone is in their 60s, their anabolic hormone environment is dramatically different from what it was in their 40s. This does not mean muscle growth is impossible. It means it requires more deliberate effort and the right signals to trigger it. The second mechanism is what researchers call anabolic resistance. This is one of the most important concepts in senior muscle physiology, and it is almost never discussed outside of specialist journals. Anabolic resistance means that the aging muscle has become less sensitive to the normal signals that trigger protein synthesis. In a younger person, eating 20 grams of protein after exercise triggers a robust muscle-building response. In a senior, the same 20 grams may trigger a much weaker response. Research from the University of Nottingham published in the Journal of Physiology demonstrated that older adults need significantly higher protein doses per meal to achieve the same muscle protein synthesis response as younger adults. The muscle has not become incapable. It has become harder to switch on. The third mechanism is neurological. As we age, we lose motor neurons, which are the nerve cells that send signals from the brain to the muscles telling them to contract. Research published in Muscle and Nerve Journal showed that humans can lose up to 50% of their motor neurons between the ages of 60 and 80. Fewer motor neurons means weaker and less coordinated muscle contractions, slower reaction time, and greater difficulty with balance. This is why falls become more common with age. It is not just muscle weakness. It is a breakdown in the communication between the nervous system and the muscles. Now I want to stop here because what I just described, the hormonal changes, the anabolic resistance, the motor neuron loss, these are the things your body is dealing with right now whether you know it or not. And I know that hearing this can feel heavy. I know it might bring up some fear or some frustration, especially if you have been doing your best to stay active and still feel like your body is working against you. So I want you to take a breath right now, and I want you to drop a flame emoji in the comments. Just one flame. It means you are still here, you are still fighting, and you are ready for the solution. Because everything I have described so far can be interrupted. Not partially. Significantly. And the science proves it. Keep watching. The fourth mechanism is chronic low-grade inflammation. This is often described in research as inflammaging, a term coined by Italian geriatrician Dr. Claudio Franceschi to describe the persistent low-level inflammatory state that characterizes aging bodies. Research published in Aging and Disease Journal showed that elevated levels of inflammatory markers like interleukin-6 and tumor necrosis factor alpha directly interfere with muscle protein synthesis and accelerate muscle breakdown. The foods you eat, the sleep you get, the stress you carry, and the movement you do or do not do all directly influence this inflammatory state. The fifth mechanism is mitochondrial dysfunction. Mitochondria are the energy-producing structures inside your cells. Your muscle cells are packed with mitochondria because muscle requires enormous amounts of energy to function. Research published in the Journal of Applied Physiology showed that the mitochondria in muscle tissue become less efficient with age, producing less energy per cell and generating more cellular waste. This is partly why seniors feel tired more quickly during physical activity even when their cardiovascular system is relatively healthy. The energy supply at the cellular level has degraded. Understanding these 5 mechanisms is not just academic. It matters because every single one of them can be influenced. None of them is a one-way door. The research consistently shows that targeted movement, specific nutrition strategies, and simple daily habits can interrupt all 5 of these processes simultaneously. Which brings us to what the 3-minute fix actually is and why it works so well. Part 3. The research that changed everything we know about rebuilding muscle after 60. Before I explain the 3-minute fix, I want to walk you through the research that underpins it. Because I am not asking you to take my word for this. I'm asking you to look at what some of the world's leading exercise and nutrition scientists have found when they actually studied the aging body under rigorous conditions. In 2019, a team of researchers from McMaster University in Canada, one of the world's leading muscle physiology research institutions, published a study in the journal Nutrients examining the effects of resistance exercise in adults over 60. The study found that just 2 sessions of resistance exercise per week, even at low to moderate intensity, produced statistically significant increases in muscle cross-sectional area, muscle strength, and functional mobility in adults between 60 and 85 years old. The key finding was this: the muscle's ability to grow and strengthen in response to the right stimulus does not disappear with age. It simply requires a higher quality signal and more deliberate activation. A 2020 study from the Buck Institute for Research on Aging published in Cell Metabolism examined what happens at the cellular level when older adults perform regular resistance movements. They found that exercise triggers a process called mitophagy, which is the body's way of clearing out damaged, dysfunctional mitochondria and replacing them with healthy new ones. This mitochondrial renewal process is directly linked to improved muscle energy production, reduced fatigue, and better overall metabolic function. Essentially, the right exercise is like giving your cells a deep clean and installing new batteries. Let me put that in plain language because it is genuinely exciting. When you do the movements I am about to show you, your body begins replacing its old worn-out cellular energy factories with brand new ones. At 65, at 70, at 75. The research is clear on this. It happens. Your body does this. You just have to give it the signal. Are you starting to feel hopeful? Because you should be. Go ahead and drop a heart in the comments if this information is changing how you think about what is possible for your body. I want to see those hearts. I will be reading them all today. Research from the University of Birmingham published in Frontiers in Physiology showed that a specific type of morning movement, performed within the first 60 minutes of waking, produces significantly higher levels of muscle protein synthesis compared to the same movement performed later in the day. The reason is that the body is in its most catabolic state, meaning most prone to muscle breakdown, in the hours immediately following sleep after a long overnight fast. Interrupting that catabolic state with targeted muscle activation early in the morning sends a powerful anabolic signal that counteracts the age-related muscle breakdown process that would otherwise continue unchallenged throughout the morning. A 2021 meta-analysis published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine reviewed 49 separate studies involving over 2,000 older adults and concluded that progressive resistance exercise is the single most effective non-pharmacological intervention for sarcopenia, producing greater improvements in muscle mass, strength, and physical function than any supplement, dietary change, or other exercise modality when studied in isolation. The analysis found that the exercises did not need to be performed in a gym, did not require heavy weights, and could produce meaningful results in as little as 8 weeks of consistent practice. And then there is the work of Dr. Stuart Phillips, also from McMaster University, who has spent 2 decades studying protein metabolism in aging adults. His research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that distributing protein intake evenly across 3 to 4 meals per day, rather than consuming most protein at dinner as most seniors do, can increase the total muscle protein synthesis response by up to 25%. This is not about eating more protein. It is about timing the same amount of protein more strategically. All of this research points toward the same conclusion. Muscle loss after 60 is real, it is significant, and it is driven by specific biological mechanisms. But it is also highly responsive to intervention. The body at 65, 70, 75, and beyond retains an extraordinary capacity to rebuild and strengthen muscle when given the right stimulus at the right time. Part 4. The 3-minute morning fix explained in full. Now we get to the part that most people are waiting for. What is the 3-minute fix and why does it work? Before I walk you through it, I want to ask you one quick question. What time do you usually wake up in the morning? Drop your wake-up time in the comments right now. Just the time, like 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. I want to know because the timing of this protocol matters and I want to make sure what I am about to tell you is as practical and relevant to your actual morning as possible. The 3-minute morning activation protocol is built on 3 core principles that emerge directly from the research I just described. First, interrupting the overnight catabolic state as early as possible. Second, sending a targeted neurological and muscular signal that activates the motor units most prone to age-related decline. Third, doing so in a way that is simple enough to become a daily non-negotiable habit. Here is the complete sequence. You do this immediately after you wake up, before you sit down, before you check your phone, and before your first cup of coffee. It takes exactly 3 minutes. You do not need any equipment. You do not need to change your clothes. You can do it right next to your bed. The first movement is called a slow wall sit and it takes 60 seconds. Stand with your back flat against the wall, feet about shoulder width apart and roughly 2 feet away from the wall. Slowly slide your back down the wall until your thighs are roughly parallel to the floor, forming a right angle at the knee. Your knees should be directly over your ankles, not extending past your toes. If parallel is too challenging at first, go to whatever angle feels manageable. Hold that position for 30 seconds while breathing slowly and deliberately, inhaling through the nose for 4 counts, exhaling through the mouth for 4 counts. Then slowly stand back up, taking a full 3 to 4 seconds to rise. Rest for 10 seconds and perform one more 30-second hold. Why does this movement matter so much? The wall sit is an isometric exercise, meaning the muscles are under tension without any joint movement occurring. Research published in the European Journal of Applied Physiology showed that isometric exercises produce unique neurological adaptations that are particularly beneficial for the aging nervous system. Because there is no movement, the nervous system is forced to recruit and hold motor units continuously without the relief of a release phase. This sustained activation is one of the most effective ways to counteract the motor neuron loss that characterizes aging muscles. The quadriceps, hamstrings, glutes, and core are all simultaneously engaged. And because the movement is performed first thing in the morning, it interrupts the overnight catabolic state before the body has a chance to continue the muscle breakdown process. The second movement is called a calf raise sequence and it takes 60 seconds. Stand behind your kitchen chair or hold lightly onto a counter for balance. Rise up onto the balls of your feet as high as you comfortably can, hold the top position for a full 2 seconds, then lower slowly taking 3 full seconds to come back down. Perform this continuously for 60 seconds. You will complete approximately 15 to 20 repetitions. The calf muscles are among the first to show significant decline in seniors and their weakness is directly linked to balance problems and fall risk. Research published in the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity demonstrated that regular calf raise training improves ankle stability, reduces sway during standing and significantly decreases fall risk in adults over 65. The slow lowering phase, called the eccentric contraction, is where the majority of the muscle strengthening stimulus occurs. Taking 3 seconds to lower is not just good form. It is the most important part of the movement for building the kind of functional strength that prevents falls and supports independence. The third movement is a standing marching sequence and it takes 60 seconds. Standing tall with your back straight and your core gently braced, lift your right knee up to approximately hip height, hold for 1 second, lower it slowly, then lift your left knee to the same height, hold for 1 second and lower it slowly. Continue alternating for the full 60 seconds. Focusing on maintaining balance and keeping your torso upright throughout. This movement targets the hip flexors and the core stabilizers, 2 muscle groups that are absolutely critical for walking safely, climbing stairs and maintaining posture, but that are among the most neglected in senior fitness programs. Research from the Journal of Physical Therapy Science showed that hip flexor weakness is one of the strongest predictors of fall risk in community-dwelling older adults. The standing march improves both the strength of these muscles and the coordination between the lower limb and the core, which is exactly the neurological integration that motor neuron decline disrupts. 3 minutes. Wall sit for 60 seconds, calf raises for 60 seconds, standing marches for 60 seconds. That is the complete protocol. Now I want to hear from you right now. Which of these 3 movements do you think will be the most challenging for you personally? The wall sit, the calf raises, or the standing march? Drop number 1, number 2, or number 3 in the comments right now. There is no wrong answer. I just want to know where your biggest challenge is so I can address it directly. Go ahead and comment while I continue. Part 5. Why morning timing is not optional, it is biological. After a night of sleep, your body has been in a fasted state for 7 to 9 hours. During this time, with no incoming nutrition and reduced physical activity, the body shifts into a catabolic state. That means it begins breaking down muscle tissue to extract amino acids for energy and for the maintenance of other biological processes. This is completely normal and it happens to everyone regardless of age. However, the difference between a 30-year-old and a 70-year-old in this situation is stark. In a younger person, the body returns to an anabolic state relatively quickly once they begin their morning routine, eat breakfast, and start moving. The hormonal environment supports a rapid switch back toward muscle preservation and growth. In a senior, this return to anabolic balance is much slower and much less robust due to the hormonal changes and anabolic resistance described earlier. If a senior wakes up, sits in their armchair, drinks their coffee, and does not move significantly for the first hour or 2 of the day, which research shows is the most common morning pattern in adults over 65, the catabolic state continues unchallenged for a significant portion of the most metabolically active window of the day. Research published in the Journal of Physiology by Dr. Luc van Loon's team at Maastricht University, one of the world's foremost muscle metabolism research groups, demonstrated that muscle protein breakdown rates in older adults in the fasted morning state are significantly higher than in younger adults and that even modest physical activity performed early in the morning can dramatically attenuate this breakdown process by triggering the release of anabolic hormones including growth hormone and IGF-1. A separate study from the University of Jyväskylä in Finland published in the Scandinavian Journal of Medicine and Science and Sports found that older adults who incorporated morning physical activity into their daily routine showed 40% better maintenance of muscle mass over a 12-month period compared to those who exercised later in the day or not at all, even when total exercise volume was matched. I want to pause here and ask you something that I genuinely think about when I record these videos. What does your current morning routine look like? Right now, before you learned any of this, what does the first 30 minutes of your day usually involve? Is it coffee first? Checking your phone? Sitting in your favorite chair? Be honest with yourself, and if you feel comfortable, share it in the comments. Because the morning routine is where everything starts, and understanding where you are right now is the foundation for knowing exactly what to change. The conclusion from this and several related studies is unambiguous. Morning movement is a qualitatively different biological signal for the aging body than the same movement performed at other times of day. This is why the 3-minute protocol is performed immediately after waking. Not because 3 minutes at any time of day would be insufficient, though it would be for a complete fitness program. But because 3 minutes in that specific morning window delivers a biological signal to your aging muscles that is disproportionately powerful relative to the time and effort invested. And that is where we are going to pause episode 1 right here. Now I want you to think about everything we just covered together. You now understand the 5 biological mechanisms that have been quietly working against your muscle health since the day you turned 60. You know about the hormonal shifts, the anabolic resistance, the motor neuron loss, the inflammation, and the mitochondrial decline that your body has been managing without you even knowing it. You have the complete 3-minute morning protocol in your hands right now. The wall sit, the calf raises, and the standing march. 3 minutes. Every morning. Starting tomorrow. But here is what I need you to know before you go. What we covered today is the foundation. It is genuinely powerful, and if you start the 3-minute protocol tomorrow morning, you will begin to feel a difference within 2 to 3 weeks. I have seen it happen hundreds of times. However, the morning protocol alone is not the complete picture. There is a second half to this story, and it is arguably more important than anything I shared today. In episode 2, I am going to reveal the specific nutrition strategy that makes your muscles actually respond to the morning protocol, including exactly how much protein you need, when to eat it, and why most seniors over 60 are getting this completely wrong. I will walk you through the 2 invisible deficiencies, vitamin D and magnesium, that are silently sabotaging your muscle rebuilding efforts even when you are doing everything else right. I will explain what is happening in your body during sleep that determines whether all of your hard work during the day actually translates into real muscle growth or simply disappears overnight. And I will give you the complete 90-day consistency plan with specific milestones so you know exactly what to expect and when to expect it. Episode 2 is coming very soon, and I am telling you right now, you do not want to be the person who watched episode 1 and never found out the rest. The 2 episodes together form a complete picture. One without the other leaves you with half of what you need. So here is what I need you to do right now before you close this video. Subscribe to Senior Strength Guide if you have not done it already. It takes literally 2 seconds. Then press the bell icon right next to the subscribe button and select all notifications. That is the only way YouTube will tell you the moment episode 2 goes live. Do not trust yourself to remember to come back and search for it. Press the bell and let the notification come to you. And while you are waiting for episode 2 to drop, I have 2 videos right here on this channel that will genuinely help you in the meantime. The first one is on the 5 knee exercises to do before you stand up every morning, and it builds directly on the morning protocol we covered today. The second is on the 3 vitamins to take before bed for stronger legs by morning, which is the perfect bridge into the nutrition and supplement content we are going to go deep on in episode 2. Both videos are right here on the channel. Go watch them now. Stay active, stay curious, and I will see you very soon in episode 2. This is Dr. Marcus Bell signing off from Senior Strength Guide, and I genuinely cannot wait to finish this conversation with you.